Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In today's financial news, the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped into negative territory around midday, hurt by declines in its economically sensitive industrial and materials components as investors traded cautiously ahead of jobs reports. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was recently off 62 points or 0.6%, led by declines of more than 2% each in DuPont and Alcoa. The S&P 500 fell by 0.4%, led by a 2.2% drop in its basic materials sector. The Nasdaq Composite Index and Russell 2000 were nearly flat. Reports sent conflicting signals over the strength of labor market's recovery. The Labor Department said in its weekly report that initial claims for jobless benefits fell by 10,000 to 453,000 in the week. Economists who were surveyed by Dow Jones Newswires have predicted claims would decrease by about 5,000. Despite this latest drop, the 4-week moving average, which is meant to smooth the volatility in data, increased slightly for the week.
In U.S. news, the 40-year-old son of former ABC News anchor Ted Koppel was found dead in an apartment in Upper Manhattan after a day of bar hopping with a man he met at a watering hole, the police said. Andrew Koppel was declared dead around 1:30 a.m. in the apartment in the Washington Heights neighborhood. The cause of death has not been determined. Koppel had been drinking heavily for hours with a man he met at a bar. An autopsy was performed, but results were pending further study, including toxicology and tissue testing, said a spokeswoman for the city medical examiner. Additional tests were needed to determine the manner and cause of death. It will take a few weeks to complete.
In today's international news, Prime Minister Netanyahu mounted a vigorous public defense of Israel's blockade of Gaza, rejecting international criticism of a deadly Israeli attack on a group of activists who have been trying to carry aid into Gaza. In his first nationally broadcast comments on the raid, Mr. Netanyahu accused Israel's critics of hypocrisy and said that the blockade of the Hamas-controlled territory of Gaza was necessary to prevent rockets and missiles from being smuggled to militants. It is our duty and responsibility, according to international law and common sense, to prevent by air, sea, and land the smuggling of weapons into Gaza. Israel has faced growing pressure from other countries and the United Nations to lift the blockade of Gaza in the wake of the assault by Israeli commandos, which ended with 9 activists dead and hundreds more taken into Israeli custody.
In entertainment news, Britain's Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, has told Oprah Winfrey she was drinking and in the gutter during a videotape sting in which she apparently offered to sell access to her ex-husband, Prince Andrew. In an interview on the Oprah Winfrey Show, Ferguson said, "I'm aware of the fact that I've been drinking, that I was not in my right place." Sarah also said she had seen the video while traveling through airports recently, but had not sat down to watch it closely. Tape of the sting was posted on the website of London's News of the World, which set up the meeting. In it, Ferguson appears to ask for $40,000 in cash and £500,000 by wire transfer in exchange for introducing an undercover reporter to the prince. The newspaper's sting operation has caused a major embarrassment for the 50-year-old Ferguson, who has 2 daughters with Prince Andrew, the second son of Queen Elizabeth and 4th in line to the throne. The couple divorced in 1996, and the prince, also known as the Duke of York, acts as Britain's special representative for international trade and investment.
In today's tech news, the Pentagon's taking a play from Monday Night Football, adopting the same instant replay technology used during games to improve analysis of Warzone video feeds. Harris Corporation, the company behind instant replay for professional football and baseball games, has teamed up with the military on an analysis system that's already been deployed to several bases. The system, called Full Motion Video Asset Management Engine, uses metadata tags to encode important details into each video frame. In a football game, those tags would be used to help broadcasters pick the best clip to re-air and explain a play. In a war zone, they'd help analysts to watch video in a richer, easier-to-grasp context, and additional tags could link a video clip to photographs, cell phone calls, databases, or documents. The final result turns war zone footage into play-by-play video feed, with analysis becoming somewhat like game announcers.
In fashion news, a longtime collaborator of the late British fashion designer Alexander McQueen, Sarah Burton, has been appointed creative director of his label, the owners Gucci announced last week. Sarah has worked with McQueen since 1996 and was appointed head of design for the label's women's wear in 2000. Jonathan Ackroyd, president and chief executive of Alexander McQueen, said Burton has a deep understanding of McQueen's vision. McQueen, who rose from a modest background to become one of the world's most flamboyant and high-profile designers, committed suicide in February on the day before his mother's funeral. The body of the 40-year-old, who felt under pressure as he raced to put together a new collection, was found hanged in a wardrobe in his central London flat.
When you've got a serious leak, it's time for Leakender 2000. It fixes any leak fast, no matter what's leaking. Just spray it with Leakender 2000, and in minutes, the leak is sealed. Look, we'll cut this garden hose with a knife, then shut off the water and spray on Leakender 2000. Minutes later, the hose is as good as new. The cut is sealed. Leakender 2000 is a unique compound that fills and seals any crack or separation as it hardens. Why put up with gushing gutters, dripping drains, wet windowsills, and rain-soaked RVs? Leakender 2000 stops all those leaks, and it's yours for only $14.95. Call now and we'll double your order. We'll send you this giant-size can at no extra charge. Order now.
To order, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-936-0300 or send check or money order for $14.95 plus $5.95 shipping to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-936-0300.
In today's green news, big problems need big solutions, and the Shimizu Corporation in Japan certainly can't be blamed for thinking small. It has made plans to provide enough clean energy to all of humanity by turning the moon into kind of an anti-Death Star, a giant solar-powered station that brings life instead of death. It might sound like complete science fiction now, but who knows what may be possible in 100 years. The general idea is that you build a massive belt of solar cells around the moon's equator. That's about 6,800 miles. You convert that electricity into microwaves of lasers that you can beam back to Earth from the near side of the moon. And you convert those beams back to electricity at power stations so that it can be fed into the grid. The solar belt would initially be relatively small, but could be grown up to 400 kilometers wide over time. Such a belt could produce more than enough clean energy for all of humanity and then some. The plan involves construction by robots that are assembled in space and then landed on the moon. The use of as much material straight from the moon's ground as possible, along with a team of astronauts to support the robots on the surface of the moon. That's crazy ambitious, but a lot of the things that we take for granted now probably would sound crazy ambitious to people from 100 years ago. So you never know, but you can't count on something like this until the first watts are being beamed back to Earth. In the meantime, we need to find other ways to get off dirty sources of energy. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.